All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, or good morning if you're in Australia, or good evening to the rest of the world. My name is Trevor Greenfield, and I'd like to welcome you to the VirtualRacing.Network live broadcasting coverage of the 2021 IndyCar iRacing series. This is round 2, the 5th race of the week at Sebring International Raceway, and there you see on screen Chris Wilhite, who has just done the third best. It's going to be a long race, folks. Third best qualifying time here as we get set for our final race of the week. And on screen, you can also see, as we get over here with the video footage, Jacob Oster, who has just put in his fastest lap, a 140.343. And we're starting to see the rest of the drivers putting in their final laps. Andrew Wood coming in with a... Let's see if we can actually catch somebody out here. Here's the end of Daniel Manzano's second lap. And he's currently qualified 4th, looking to improve. Earlier, as I just said, Andrew Wood putting in our second best time at a 140.77. Rob Unglenix coming in with in third with a 140.83, and there you see Daniel Manzano is not going to improve. A little spin around. Meanwhile, we have Ryan Worley on track. Worley currently in 7th place, heading down the backstretch here, looking to improve here on his second lap. The strength of field for tonight, I believe, is 2,560. I'm going to take a look at that again here in a minute and see if I can get that accurate number for you. So Ryan Worley, moves to second place with a 140.58. Now, these are not the faster times that we have been seeing in qualifying. We've been seeing 139s, even high 138s. And this group, this is the top split race. And this group, the top time for Jacob Oster, a 140.34. I wonder if he thought he would be in the 140.34 and get the pole position. Nevertheless, there he is. And as we scroll back, we actually have some other notable contenders who are in the field tonight. As I mentioned, Rob Unglenix, he's a continual front runner over in the Road Open Series. Carlos Ruiz, also front runner in the Road Open Series. Ray Kingsbury, who was in 5th place in the points of this series, going into this race after Barber last week. And so he has not done a start this week. And so he looks to be able to get his first points of the week. And so we'll see where everything lines up. In the meantime, congratulations to Jacob Oster, who finds himself on pole position. And we get ready for everybody to start heading out and gridding up. In the meantime, let's go ahead and take a look at the current points as they stand. So you'll see that on screen coming up here. So we have Adam Crane in first place from Canada with 477 points. Now, this is current as of just before the start of this race. And all of these drivers have competed in both of the weeks. However, as I mentioned, there are a number of drivers still back there, like Ray Kingsbury, who could have a great finish here and see himself up in the top 10. So second place, Hugo Olsson, who won our very first race here on VirtualRacing.Network last week in Barber. And so he is not competing tonight, but he finds himself in second place. Henry Bennett, who we've been seeing quite a bit of on the VirtualRacing.Network broadcasts, he won't be competing tonight. He's in third at 433. Mark Usher, I actually raced with him earlier today in the earlier race here at Sebring, the 4th race of the week. He did quite well. 396 points for him. Zhao Vaz. This is a name you should be watching for. He's excellent driver and seems to be quickly climbing the ranks here in the IndyCar series. 379 points. Behind him, Andreas Eich, Vilde Wallen, and Severi Seppa. As you can see, it's quite a few Scandinavian area countries. These are the club names, of course, but quite a few from Scandinavia that are in the top 10 at the moment. And then we have Matthias Kraus, who I also raced with earlier today in 9th place. Austin Espete coming in at 10th place, our first American in the top 10. So we'll have to see as we get set here to do our full pace lap. We'll have to see if any drivers can invade the top of the points. Going to be tough. I believe a couple of drivers might have a chance at it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule. And you can see this is the top half of the schedule. So you can see we don't race every week, but this series, unlike the Road Open series and the Fixed Oval series, this series, the IndyCar iRacing series, actually spans multiple different seasons and goes on for several months. So our first race at Barber, this week we're at Sebring, and then we have Texas Motor Speedway, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway's road course and oval. And of course, as we're right there in the month of May, the official 500, so special. Then we get to Belle Isle, Detroit, Road America, and then Mid-Ohio. So really trying to emulate the real life series as much as possible. And now we get to the second half of the racing that we'll be doing this season. We'll be at Montreal for Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and then Sonoma Raceway. We'll have the Indianapolis road course again, and then we'll be back at we'll be on an oval once again. It's almost a rarity. We'll be at the Gateway Oval at Worldwide Technology, then Road Atlanta, which is always a favorite in these cars, quite a dynamic track. Then Laguna Seca, and finally Long Beach, and that should be a blast. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope to see you each and every week for at least one broadcast here on VirtualRacing.Network. We're going to try to do the Friday broadcast as we've been doing, and then trying to also do these Sunday fifth race broadcasts. However, I have a little bit of a time commitment that on Sundays, some Sundays, I will not be able to do this fifth race, and so I'll be broadcasting the 11 o'clock fourth race of the day. Anyway, here we go, set for 42 laps of high-flying fun action here at Sebring Raceway. It's anybody's guess who's going to take it here because some of the front runners aren't here. Jacob Oster will lead us to the green flag, and we are underway here at Sebring International Raceway. We take a look. Looks pretty good through 1 and 2. Looks like we did have an off track from Ryan Worley there, and looks like Andrew Wood and Rob Unglenix both managing to get through. So move them up a position. Meanwhile, it's a bit further back. We have, it's saying we did have a crash on track. It's saying that Ray Kingsbury has gone off and gone back to the pits. In the meantime, on our screen, we can see Ryan Worley under attack here. And up front, Jacob Oster not really having too much difficulty. We'll see if we can get back and take a look at what happened on the start for some of these drivers that did have issues. So let's see if we can tell what happened exactly. We had a couple of different incidents. So here was coming through turn 1. We have Kevin Bulhassa. Oh, just absolutely spinning off, having an issue. Then we have Ben Zenner, who I believe was caught up in the same incident. So Ben there in the... Oh, yeah, you could just see there's Ben with the very colorful livery, unfortunately having an issue there. And then we have Ray Kingsbury. I don't know what happened to Ray. Let's see if we back it up, if we can figure it out. It's not really wanting to show me, of course. So we'll have to figure that one out later. In the meantime, we'll go back to the live picture. And it appears as though Rob Uglenix has had an issue. Let's see if we can go back to that. This is Carlos Ruiz getting around Rob. Looks like multiple drivers managing to get around Rob. In the meantime, we take a look here at Andrew Wood, who's hanging on there in the Team Talent machine, the wood-colored, the wood-wrapped machine of the number 3 car there. So we have a couple more incidents. Tomas Sipos having a big problem, and collects a couple of different drivers there, unfortunately. And I'm not sure if that was, that was Justin Petshower who managed to find his way in there as well. That's difficult day for Justin. And now here we have Chris Wilhite getting around Davis Braun for 5th. So move him up a position. And in the meantime, a little bit further back, we've got John Martin making a move very aggressively down the inside of Edward Foster. And here's Robert Obrada getting around Connor Beese. Apologize, I can't... Oh, there it is for 15th. So we're going to go back and take a look at the live shot. Jacob Oster in the number 9 car there. So the way that iRacing hands out these numbers, you are based on your iRating coming into the race. So when there are 23 drivers, and you have the number 9 car, that says that you're somewhere near the middle, a little bit higher than the middle of the iRating. So he's quite outperforming right now to be out there in first position based off of his iRating. So congratulations to him, but we all know Jacob is quite capable of a driver and is on his way up. So you've got Andrew Wood in second position, up a position already on the day. We move back to Daniel Manzato, who's running in third. He's just a little over 4 seconds back now, I say, as Jacob Oster puts in his first hot lap of the day at a 1:41.68. So we didn't actually go over it at the start of the race, but let's take a look at the weather settings. And we've actually only got a 41%, or I'm sorry, 41 Celsius track temperature. So it's not too hot. I'm just kind of wondering about these lap times. They seem a little bit off. But we've got Ray Kingsbury going by a couple of different drivers here. Just picking his way through the mess, it appears. And he's coming back to 19th after an earlier incident. Ray in the Nitro Circus Last Lap Motorsports vehicle. And here is Daniel Manzano running in third place. Take a look a little bit further back as we see that Ryan Worley is actually just been passed by Chris Willite. Oh, and we have an incident back there. It's Davis Braun sliding sideways out of, I believe, 5th place, and many cars get past. Davis Braun getting it a little wrong in the final corner. Will collect it back up and get underway. In the meantime, up front, no problem. Jacob Oster running clean laps. Last lap doing a 142.17. Starting, this is about halfway through his 5th lap now. So we get over to, let's take a look a little bit further back. There's quite a gaggle here. It starts with Chris Willite, who just got around Ryan Worley before we had that incident. And then you see Ryan Worley here in the 10 car, in the red and white 10 car. He's down 3 positions on the day. And just as I say that, something has possibly happened to Andrew Wood up front in the 2nd position. He's just fallen back, and Manzano has just gotten around. Let's see if we can. Oh, there it is. You see Andrew Wood off track, rejoins, and Manzano gets passed. And then just as we were looking at that, this pass happened. This is Carlos Ruiz passing Ryan Worley for 5th place. And here we have Kevin Bulasa has unfortunately had another crash, and he just threw it. He just sent it, absolutely sent it inside of that other car and just put it into the fence. There was no way that pass was going to stick. And so a little bit of karma there, I think, for Kevin. And he can just take a look at that replay or catch the broadcast a little bit later on to see what went wrong. Carlos Ruiz now finding himself up 4 positions on the day. There's a little bit of tire smoke ahead. Looks like Chris Willite maybe getting a little extra braking in. And a little bit back from him is Ryan Worley, who again is down 4 positions on the day. He doesn't have too much to worry about, though. He's got a 26.21 iRating, and maybe he's looking for the points of finishing up in the front. But my software says that he'll make 50 iRating on the day anyway. So it's just one of those things about iRacing is you never really have to worry about it too much. And there you see Rob Unglenix makes his move down the inside. And makes the pass on Ryan Worley. So we really haven't talked too much about Rob Unglenix in this series. Here's our first look at his light blue colored car. I'm kind of used to his other livery, the blue and white machine. He's got Michigan, his club, on the side pod. So you definitely know where Rob is from. And in the meantime, I'm looking for the next closest battles that are happening on the track. It looks like a lot of these drivers are a little bit spread out. Andrew Wood is holding on there in 3rd. He hasn't fully been dropped by Daniel Manzano yet. So we'll see if he can manage to claw that position back. And you can see the gap back to Chris Willite is not very far. Try to get the gap times up there on the top so you can see. That'll make it a little bit easier, I guess. So Chris Willite having a pretty good race there in 4th place, up 2 positions. There you can see some more information in our battle box graphics there. And we'll take a look a little bit further back here at Michael Haller, who finds himself running just behind Ryan Worley, who's down 5 positions, but Michael is up 4 positions himself. And then we take a look at Rodrigo Munoz just behind. He's in 9th place, and he's gained 4 positions on the day, so his day's going quite well. John Martin here running in 10th, and he's gained 10 positions, so he's got to be pretty happy. Nagisa Yashikawa running 11th, and just as I say that, it looks like, oh, and we've had Michael Haller go off. I just caught that out of the corner of my eye. Michael Haller having a difficult time here, and rejoins in 12th place. That's where he started. So commentator's curse strikes yet again. And we move on to some more drivers that we can curse. In the meantime, we're trying to watch. We've had another off track here. This is from Ray Kingsbury having a moment. Oh, just clipping the hairpin curb a little bit, sending him off track. And we have a note here that says Kevin Bulasa. It says he left the pits only to jump back to the pits. I'm guessing they didn't quite fix the car. Yeah, he doesn't even get out of the pits. He says, game over. Game over. Done. Throw down the gloves. Where is the beer? Race over. Okay, so back up front with Mr. Jacob Oster in complete control of this race. His lap times are in the 42s, and he seems to be able to just keep the car pointed in the right direction. Nobody in his mirrors. We'll have to see. He's got 9 bushes to pass left, so he has not been burning through them. Here we've got another incident, this time with Rodrigo Munoz. This is the time of the stint where these tires start going off, and you can see real issue there. In the meantime, we also have Edward Foster going off track, and it appears as though he has another incident after this. Let's see. Oh, and there we've just caught it a little late. So he's just spun coming out of the hairpin there and goes back to the pits. But you know who isn't spinning, and you know who isn't clipping curbs. That's Jacob Oster, your leader. He has gained no positions on the day because he started in first. So much like our points leader, Adam Crane, there's not much worry if you just put it on the pole and then you just walk away from everybody and win the race. It's a pretty solid strategy. Definitely a solid strategy. So you'll note also that the vast majority of drivers are using the red sidewall tires, I say, as we take a look now at our second place driver, Daniel Manzano from Brazil. Jacob Oster, of course, is an American, and so is Andrew Wood just behind. So it's quite an interesting international grid. We can go over that in a little bit. But the main thing is regarding the tires, there's only two compounds. We have the alternate tire, and we have which is the red sidewall tire that you see here. And then we have the primary black tire. And although the black tire is usable and it's almost competitive with this red tire, the truth is there's the black tire just is not really a favorite in any sort of situation. You would think it in the hottest situations, like when it's 120 or 130 degrees on the track, that it would work more efficiently than this red tire, but that's just simply not the case. And so there are no requirements in this series to run both compounds as it is in the real life series. And so pretty much, generally speaking, we're only going to ever see the red sidewall tires. Now that is always something that could get changed by iRacing as we go along. So if that does happen, I will try to bring you that news update so that you can stay in the know. And that will certainly dramatically affect the racing and the strategy on track. So let's do a little reset here. Currently running in first place, we have Jacob Oster. And then second place, just 3.73 seconds back, Daniel Manzano, as we are cruising on our 11th lap. In third place, and Daniel Manzano, by the way, up 3 positions on the day. Looks like we have a little bit more excitement further back as Michael Holler, getting it wrong in the hairpin. We've seen this a couple of times now, and there you can see Connor BC moving ahead and getting that position. Looks like he had to fight for it a little bit, though. Let's go back to the live picture and see if they're still battling it out back there. It does appear as though they are. So Michael Holler not quite ready to concede 11th position. Connor Beese is up 7 positions on the day. So he's quite happy, I would think, with where he is relative to his qualifying position. Now I have another note here that Tomas Sipos having an off track here. Oh no. And manages to collect it back again. And we're going again. So we'll continue walking through the field. Here's Andrew Wood running in third, right where he qualified. Chris Wilhite, number 12 car, up 2 positions, running in fourth. Carlos Ruiz in fifth, 4 positions gained so far on the day. Rob Unglenix has lost 2 positions and finds himself in 6th. I think he's managed to claw 1 or 2 positions back. Here's a pass Ray Kingsbury can be proud of. Ray passing Ben J. Zenner for 15th. And it looks like this battle, Michael Holler was not ready to concede 11th place, so he does get back by Connor. Look at this battle. This is what iRacing is about, folks. Doesn't matter whether you're racing for 11th or 10th or 20th or 1st. These tight battles are where it's at. And sometimes you end up in these battles for laps and laps and laps, and then finally you get an opportunity to make a lunge, and it's hero or zero moment. So good action from those guys. And now we'll take a look again here. Robin Glenix, and now we have Ryan Worley, who's lost 5 positions in 7th place. He's lost 5 positions on the day, so he's really, I'm sure, even though he's going to get 42 iRating points out of this, he would love to be able to claw some of that back. And here we have another another incident from Tomas Cepos. Oh boy. There's Rob Unglenix going by. And so, back again looking at Ryan Worley. Now we move back to Argentinian Rodrigo Munoz, 8th place, 5 positions gained. John Martin of the UK and Ireland, here 11 positions gained on the day, rocking that classic Forsyth livery. Nagisa Yashikawa in 10th with 4 positions gained on the day. Michael Haller, who's gone off and come back on and had a couple of battles, finds himself in 11th, 1 position up. Connor Beese up 6 positions in 12th. Argentinian Hugo Galaz now finding himself in 13th position, 4 positions gained. Robert Obrada in 14th position has now gained 5 positions on the day. He is under attack, however, from Ray Kingsbury, who seems to certainly have some speed. Robert is under attack from Ray. Ray, no problem whatsoever, takes that position. So move Ray up to 14th. He's 3 back from where he started. So we take a look now at, well, we'll go back up to Robert, who, as I had mentioned, was up 5 positions, now up 4 positions on the day. We've got Ben J. Zenner, who has lost 8 positions. That beautiful, colorful machine there, tie-dye almost, kaleidoscopic. So cool. It's like one of those art F1 cars, etc. Oh, we've got Daniel Manzano entering the pit lane, and behind him, Andrew Wood. So we're seeing our first stops of the day. These are early stops, folks, as we're only on lap 15, or at least they're earlier than Jacob Oster and Ryan Worley. So we'll see. There's Andrew Wood coming off pit road. And Daniel Manzano, it appears as though, has gained about a second, maybe about a half a second on Andrew Wood on that pit stop exchange. Let's see if we can tell where that happened. Here you can see the pit stop time on your screen, with Manzano actually spending longer. But it's the pit lane time where Wood actually, I may have been reading the time gap a little bit wrong, but there, nevertheless, you can see those times on pit road, with Andrew Wood actually doing the best job of getting onto and off of pit road with a 40.9 second, I believe. It's very small on my screen. A little tough to tell. So we look for, and there, as I say that, Jacob Oster is into the pits. So what this means is that Jacob Oster and Ryan Worley will be one lap different. And so there, Ryan Worley just entering his pit box. And we see Jacob Oster. Where will he slot back out? And it's behind Daniel Manzano. So your new leader on the track, Daniel Manzano, with the undercut strategy, it has paid off, as Jacob Oster unable to defend that position. As you can see there, Jacob Oster a little slow on pit road. On that graphic, it shows him with a 41.4. So very likely losing about a second of time there, and the gap right now is 1.3 seconds. So we have a note here that says Davis Braun has gone off track. We have a couple of different notes here. Davis Braun, oh wow, getting it absolutely wrong and puts it off track, and that will unfortunately probably end his day. We have another note that Ryan Worley went off the track, and he did indeed. A bit of damage there. Then we have, and so I see that's how John Martin and Rodrigo Munoz, Nagisa Yashikawa have all gotten by. Now Ryan Worley, who sits unfortunately in the pits, and it appears as though his day may be through. So Jacob Oster falling off a little bit here, not quite able to hang the pace. And there we see Andrew Wood has gone off track. What has happened? Oh, and what? Oh, there's a big incident. And of course, TV cameras are all set up on the wrong side of the track to fully appreciate it. Let's see if we go back a little bit, if we can tell exactly what happened to Andrew. He just looks like he just lost it there. Such an easy place to light it up a little bit. You wouldn't think that would happen with newer track or with newer tires, but that is what can happen. So meanwhile, Andrew Wood back in the pits, and that's unfortunate. You know, these cars are just so easy to rip a wing off, or for quite a while it was just ripping a wheel off. If you just as much as looked at it a little sideways, the car was falling apart on you. So yeah, really easy to go off and get it wrong. And so where does this put us? Well, we've got Daniel Manzano now in the lead of this race with 25 laps to go. This is the 2021 IndyCar iRacing Series. This is round 2, the 5th and final race of the week. It is Sunday, April 25th, 2021, and I'm Trevor Greenfield. I'm your host, and I'd just love to thank you so much for joining me tonight as we're enjoying covering this series that is now in its 3rd season. This is the IndyCar iRacing Series, and we get a chance to see some of the names that we haven't necessarily been seeing over the season so far in our broadcasts. And so, Jacob Oster here running in second, and it appears as though John Martin has had an issue himself. as he's just entered, trying to understand what has happened. He's entered pit lane for something, and now he's gotten passed multiple times. So it doesn't tell us that there was an off track, but unfortunately John Martin now sliding to the back of the track. And meanwhile, for fourth place, this is Robin Glenix making a move down the inside of Carlos Ruiz into turn one, and he pulls it off successfully. So move him up to fourth place. That's Robin Glenix right where he qualified in fourth. So he's managed to claw back the couple of positions that he lost on the start. 2.4 seconds back of Chris Wilhite, and meanwhile he's coming up on about 14 seconds back from leader Daniel Manzano. So John Martin, they're running nose to tail with a fellow liveried vehicle. I have no idea how long we're going to be able to get away with using trading paints for. I have no idea whatsoever, but we're going to keep trying. So here's Daniel Manzano having a little bit of trouble getting around. Looks like finally that car cleared the path. And in the meantime, take a look a little bit further back, and we see Chris Wilhite doing his best in third place to just hang on at this point. He's seen a couple of people get it wrong, and he has no need to do that. He's just looking at hopefully being able to cruise to a third place finish. It's only 23 laps to go. There, Robin Glenix. You know, Chris is doing, his last lap was a 1:43.15. Meanwhile, Daniel Manzano just did his fastest lap of the race of 1:41.69. But the point I was going to make, if we can turn our battle box back on, it will want to show up for us. Not really sure why. I'm still getting used to all of this software. It doesn't always work the way I want it to, but there you see that Robin Glenix is only 1.36 seconds back of Chris Wilhite, and Rob did a 1:42.50 this last lap. So that Rob is basically hanging with or closing in on Chris Wilhite, and we will have to watch for that, although looked like he went off a little bit there. And speaking of going off, here is unfortunately Ray Kingsbury lighting it off a little bit. That's the same corner that Andrew Wood had the problem. You could see the grass marks there from before. Ray unfortunately is taken off the wing, and that will slide him back. He had just worked his way up to 10th position. So this race not going Ray's way at all. I take most likely full credit for that. I'm not sure if he did end up using it, but I gave Ray my setup earlier. Ray is my teammate, and so it probably is unusable. So sorry, Ray. Sorry, bud. But we're working on a lot of good stuff together for this next month for Indianapolis and some of the elite stuff we're all doing. And of course, this series, Ray's fifth place in the points, and so he would love to have a great finish this week. I think it's just going to turn into another survival race for Ray, as he finds himself now back in 12th position, but it looks like he's still running around with only half a wing. So I guess this is one of those, you know, if it doesn't fly off the track, just stay out there until your next pit stop. In the meantime, we did just see Andrew Wood leaving the pits. I don't know why we need to watch a replay of that. we had Justin Petshower going off there and rejoining. Almost rejoining. There's rejoining. That's the corner, that's obviously the backstretch there, and that was the exit to the backstretch. Now that was Jacob Oster who was just there. So that off happened right in front of our leaders, and that does happen quite frequently. When you're in the front, you will see somebody go off right in front of you, and so it's not like these guys are just out there cruising around. They do have to deal with lap cars as well. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for our next pit stops to occur, which should happen here in about another 5 laps, we do have Daniel Manzano leading by 3.3 seconds over Jacob Oster. Chris Wilhite in third, and he's only 0.7 of a second now in front of Robin Glennox. I'm sure Rob would love to take that third position from Chris, but Chris is a seasoned veteran himself, so we'll have to see. That may be a little easier said than done. Rob now just 0.4 back, seemingly getting closer and closer. Rob carefully considering when he wants to make his move. And in the meantime, this is the closest battle happening on track right now. So here, Rob, as you can see, is doing just anything he can to try to close up on Chris. He's now just 0.4 back. Rob with 6 passes of push to pass left, and Chris with 9 pushes. It's really a question as to when someone's going to have a problem, or, wow, it's getting close. Will Chris slip? This is the end of the stint, and so you have to imagine those tires are getting a bit worn. These two continue to battle it out here. You just get a feeling like something's going to happen here. That's why I've been staying with it. Meanwhile, this other battle is Ray, of course, still racing around, getting the Iron Man approach here, the Survivor Award here, the Purple Heart from this race. Ray with only half a wing, still getting it done in 12th place, down a position on the day. In the meantime, we'll go back up, and this battle's gotten even closer, if that was possible. Robin Glennick's now close enough to smell the French fries in the cockpit of Chris Wilhite. I don't know. I have no idea. But you can feel the heat off the back of the engine, that's for sure. Let's jump on board. Here's the driver's eye view from Robin Glennick's. So these two continue to stay within about a half a second of one another. In the meantime, we're looking at Daniel Manzano, who's out front now. No problems. After picking up that position in the pit stop exchange from Jacob Oster. And so we now expect him in 3 laps. Jacob Oster, it looks like, will go 1 more lap, as you can see from the graphic there. Now, that's a question mark. Perhaps he won't try to go that extra lap. Perhaps he will try to undercut himself and come in at the same time as Manzano and try and rectify the earlier issue of having the undercut strategy work against him. Nevertheless, Jacob starting on pole, currently shown in 2nd position, just 1 position lost today. And he's in for an iRating treat. Jacob with 2,663 iRating. If he can finish where he's at, he should see something like 84 iRating gain. Here's Robin Glennick's, who did, in fact, my goodness, let's look at it. There it is. Wow, just barely sneaking through. I knew it would happen sooner rather than later. Robin Glennick's just barely sneaking by Chris Wilhite, who got it loose a little bit coming out of the corner and almost collected both cars, but now Rob sits in 3rd, 9 seconds back from Jacob Oster. And in the meantime, also have Jordan Ward going off in that yellow Pennzoil car. Classic livery. Same place that Andrew Wood and Ray Kingsbury had their issue. It's just one of those places that you're just barely feathering in the throttle, and so tricky to get it back underway. Tricky to apply the throttle there, and it's kind of like the middle straightaway of the track where that corner exits to, and so you really want to get a great exit onto that little straightaway. it's even a chance to make a pass in the next corner. So it's a very key corner to get right, and that's why you're feathering in the throttle there through that corner just as you're turning, and on worn tires especially, very easy to put a little bit too much throttle in and around it goes. So we look here, waiting just 2 more laps while we wait for Daniel Manzano to make his final stop of the day. In the meantime, we also have Nagisa Yashikawa with Michael Haller all over his gearbox. And Nagisa under attack for 7th position. Nagisa up 7 positions on the day, while Michael Haller, of course, had an incident earlier, but then came charging back, had managed to pass Connor Beese, and now is setting their sights on Nagisa. So that battle is just 0.8 of a second. We'll try to watch for that. We have Ray Kingsbury coming into the pits. I'm thinking he's finally coming in for his wing and his last pit stop. He himself might be trying to undercut. We'll see if he can manage to get 15 laps out of the fuel. We can see so, as you can see, Jacob Oster did do 15 laps on the first stint, so technically Ray's stop is on time. And so Ray re-enters back in 14th position. Here's something has happened perhaps to Justin Petschauer. It's saying that Mitchell Laurie has gotten around, but I'm not seeing it there on the screen. And here is the pass you've all been waiting to see for P7. Michael Haller getting around Nagisa. And we have Chris Willite in the pits for his final pit stop of the day. Carlos Ruiz also in the pits. Hugo Galez, Connor Beese, Ben Zerner, and Nagisa Yashikawa. All of your top 10 basically coming into the pits. And Daniel Manzano still not having pitted yet. Jacob Oster also not having pitted. Rob Unglenix also has not pitted. Michael Haller hasn't pitted, and he is now in 4th. So we should see Daniel Manzano on this lap. Will he peel in? Yes, he does. So here we go, we get ready, and Jacob Oster continues. So Jacob Oster does not try to put himself on the same strategy. Rob Unglenix also enters the pits. In the meantime, we're looking between these two cars. We've got Daniel Manzano and Rob Unglenix. Rob still not in his pit box yet. There he is. And Daniel Manzano successfully pits out. And so we wait for the only remaining car in the top 5 to not pit, Jacob Oster, while Michael Haller does finally come into the pits and whoops. I didn't even realize I had that button that I could stop everything. I'll stop so quickly. But here we go. Total professional broadcasting. Nothing but the best here on VirtualRacing.Network, folks. What does that big red button do? Don't push it. Okay. So, just to recap, we've got Jacob Oster here, still in the lead by 24 seconds. That is not going to be enough time whatsoever to do his pit stop and retain the lead. In the meantime, we have Andrew Wood going off track again, unfortunately, just getting it a little wrong. Just so easy to do in that early section. It's such a fine balance. And then we also see John Martin. Ben Zenner had just gotten around, and now John Martin gets around him. So let's go back live with Jacob Oster, who sits in the pits as Daniel Manzano cruises by in turn 1 and retakes the lead. Now, as Jacob exits, he finds himself, where is it going to even out at? 8.6 seconds back from Daniel Manzano and about 6 seconds ahead of Robin Glenix. So your battle here is probably going to be between Oster and Unglenix for second place. We'll have to... Oh, there's Oster going a little bit wide through that corner, getting some dirt kick up. And Ray Kingsbury continues his day of ups and downs, making a pass on that beautiful Ben Zenner car. And behind that, looks like Robert Obrota has overtaken John Martin, who was in the pits there, has since left the pits. So this battle is also still close. This is for 7th place. Oh, kicking up some cones there, Michael Haller and Nagisa Yashikawa. Whoa, very late move there from Nagisa. So just half a second back here, Nagisa. Now Nagisa has 6 push to passes left. Michael Haller with just 2 push to passes left. So Nagisa, if it comes down to it, will be able to hopefully doing something. Six tenths of a second separate these two. Meanwhile, this guy, Daniel Manzano, driving the number 15 car. This gentleman has 2,450 iRating, and he's competing in a race with several drivers that are up in the 3,000s. John Martin at 3,500, Andrew Wood at 3,400. Kevin Buhalsa is actually 4,287. He's currently, I don't believe he's running anymore. Yeah, he's out of this race. So for Daniel Manzano to have gained 4 positions, be in complete control of this car and be in control of this race, able to pull out a gap on Jacob Oster, even though Jacob Oster did just do a 41.25, which is his fastest lap of the race, and I believe is the fastest lap of the race. Yes, it is. Daniel having a bit of an issue trying to get around the lap car here. And so he's just doing an amazing job. 4 positions gained on the day. As I said, the Brazilian 7 seconds up on Jacob Oster and only has less than 10 laps now, just 9 laps to securing his first victory of this series this season. I believe this will be his first race victory. And now we look at 2 cars. Hugo Galaz, who's up 7 positions in 10th place, but don't look too closely in your mirrors there, Hugo. You'll see a hard-charging Ray Kingsbury with Nitro Circus Dallara IR18 there, looking to get around. Ray on the button, one of his 5 push-to-passes remaining. Easily taking the position. So Ray now officially gaining 1 position on the day. If he hadn't had a couple of incidents, you know, it's always the story. Always the story. You look back at the end at your race and you always wonder. Meanwhile, John Martin just set the fastest lap by far of this race. And I've raced against John. He's incredibly fast. This week it's just not really showing his capability. But John just did a 140.49. And the very next lap he did a 140.98. Both of those laps, both of them, are close to 0.3 of a second faster than Jacob Oster, who holds the next fastest lap. Jacob Oster's 141.21. So there is a lot more time out here, and I'm trying to say this gently. This is not the fastest race that we've seen this week, and I think that just tells you that you can, in fact, enter into any one of these races if you're skilled and you go and you practice and you have good lap times. There's no reason why you can't find yourself up in the front of one of these races if you can hang on to one of these IndyCars for 60 plus laps. That is always a tall order. Or 40 to 60 laps, it is always a tall order. But Daniel Manzano, as I was saying, with his 2450 iRating, just showing that even against 3,000 iRating drivers, he can hold his own quite well. Here's Jacob Oster running in second, 7.3 seconds back of Daniel. And another 8 seconds down the road. Meanwhile, by the way, Daniel Manzano just doing his fastest lap of the race, a 141.55. Rabu Glenix in third has picked up a spot on the day and is probably pretty happy with this third place. Rob is not always a podium finisher, but he's always right there in the top 5 a frequent top finisher in top splits, second splits, always there, hard charger, good contender, and not a surprise to see him running in third place here. Chris Willite, he's up 2 positions on the day, but again was running up in third. Just got it a little bit wrong under pressure from Robin Lennox, and once again, Chris is much more of an oval guy, to be quite honest, but doing quite well here on the road. You'd have to wonder, he's one of those drivers that would just, after the race, you're just going to scratch your head and say, what would have happened if I just didn't quite get it so wrong there? Could have held on to third. But either way, he's doing great, up a couple of positions, and you just can't count this guy out here. Ray Kingsbury on the charge, now getting by Connor Beese for 9th place. So up 2 positions for Ray Kingsbury. How far? He's got to go 11.8 seconds to get up to the next driver, Nagisa, so I don't see that happening. And so let's take a look at who's running in 5th. That's Carlos Ruiz. Up 4 positions. Feeling pretty good, I think, about this finish. He's running just behind. So try to detail this here. It looks like Carlos is using his last push to pass here. Carlos from Argentina. He's running just in front of Rodrigo Munoz, so just about 6.5 seconds in front of Rodrigo Munoz. Munoz with 7 positions gained on the day. He's almost our top charger of the top 10. So just behind Munoz, we have Michael Haller racing for NASA, apparently. Should ask him if he knows one of my teammates. Or if he really works for NASA. Either way, Michael Haller has had an incident, or not an incident-filled day, but an interesting day, adventurous day, ups and downs, made a couple of passes, and he finds himself up 5 positions, running in 7th in the number 7 car. 3 seconds arrears, Nagisa Yashikawa, up 6 positions. And then we get back to Ray Kingsbury, who is actually closing on Nagisa, but at a rate that is just not going to be fast enough. Ray's about half a second a lap quicker, but still that won't be enough to reel in Nagisa. So Ray up 2 positions there in 9th, and now we get back to Connor Beese, who is in 10th, gaining 8 positions on the day. These are all, I mean, gaining 8 positions is just phenomenal. And for example, I'm showing that Connor will receive 40 iRating for this, and that's exactly what you need. Connor is only a 1,882 iRating. So for him to be in this split, in this top split, and doing as well as he is up there in 10th place, gaining 8 positions on the day with just 2 incident points, Connor doesn't need better safety rating with a 4.99 rating, but this is one of those races where you're going to finish in 10th, get 40 iRating points, and if you needed it, you'd get more safety rating. So you got to kind of think that way, because you can really get sucked into some of these battles and find yourself crashed out or spinning off very quickly. So just going through the field here, Hugo Gallas up into 11th, 6 positions gained on the day. The position behind is, the car racing behind is not for position. And we get back to Ben Zerner. In the meantime, I am watching for the notes to see if there's anything else going on up in front, but thus far, nothing really happening up in front. Ben Zerner lost 4 positions today. We've seen a few difficult moments, and here is Andrew Wood again. Unfortunately, just so many issues in this section of the track. That's one of those things that afterwards you're going to look at that and I'm sure figure that one out. And here is what none of us at Last Lap Motorsports wanted to see. Ray really getting it in deep on that corner, and it looked like he got caught out by somebody in front going a little bit slow. That allowed Connor Beast to get back around him. So back to going through the field here. Ben Zenner, as we mentioned, losing 4 positions. Robert Obroda in 13th. 6 positions gained on the day. John Martin, 14th, 6 positions gained. Justin Headshower. Justin, saw you over in the forums. Appreciate the comment about this series being now the third year in a row. And of course, took that and last race did a breakdown on the 2019 and 2020 points. Here's a hint. Adam Crane from last season, and Henry Bennett has been right there as well. So look forward to seeing those 2 names continue to pop up, and we'll see what they can do next week. And so we take a look over here at Mitchell Laurie. Mitchell, this is for position here. Didn't realize that, but that was for position. And it looks like Mitchell looking to get around Justin for 15th position. Mitchell, having gained 6 positions on the day, looking for a little extra. And Mitchell's one of those drivers with 2,265 iRating looking to claw as much of that iRating loss back. Right now showing that he'll lose 25 iRating on today. So here he goes around Justin Petschauer on the backstretch. Mitchell still has 6 pushes of push to pass left, and he's on it now. So trying to defend that position. Meanwhile, Justin not using push to pass there on the start finish straight for some reason. I guess saving it for the next race. So a little bit back from there, we've got Justin Ward. I haven't talked about him too much, but showing off one of those classic IndyCar liveries. Down 2 positions, finds themselves in 17th. We got just 2 laps to go up at the front. Tomas Sipos not having a good day. Really not having a good day. A couple of off tracks and just hanging on to the car. Finds themselves back in 18th. Andrew Wood, what can be said? Andrew was up in the front, but unfortunately had a couple of incidents that took him out. And I believe that is the last of the cars that are still running. Ryan Worley, Davis Braun, Edward Foster, and Kevin Buhalsa, as Andrew Wood has everything that he can deal with in front of him, racing for 19th place, just trying to find a way by, and he does. So, after touring the field, this guy, Daniel Manzano, is just looking at clear air. And in case you were wondering, yes, Ray Kingsbury did pass Connor Beast again. Again, it's going to be another one of those races for Ray that you look at afterwards and say, can we just go do another one? Can we just go do another one? Because between him and Andrew Wood, I think they have enough pace to be both running up in the top 5, but it's just one of those things that's part of being an iRacer. As you look at this young driver, Daniel Manzano, who is taking the white flag here, and he is 7.4 seconds ahead of Jacob Oster, who is down a position. He, of course, qualified on the pole, lost the position in the pit stop exchange, and now has pretty much held station through this entire stint. So you talk about drivers who might be kicking themselves a little bit at the end of this one. You might just wonder what could have happened and what might have happened that caused such a slowdown. But nevertheless, Jacob is going to be very happy, I'm sure, with the points as part of it. So Daniel Manzano, not much more can be said. As he winds his way here through the last corners, exit onto the back straight for the final time today. There's a lap car in front that gets out of the way. And here, ladies and gentlemen, from around the world, your winner here, the 5th race from Sebring International Raceway, round 2 of the 2021 IndyCar iRacing Series, your winner, Daniel Manzano. Here, Jacob Oster coming home in 2nd place, and across the stripe in 3rd, Rob Unglenix. Chris Willite makes his way around the final corner for the end of 42 hard-fought laps there. We'll switch to Carlos Ruiz. He gained 4 positions today. I'm sure he'll be quite happy. And we take a look at Rodrigo Munoz, who also will be quite happy, having gained 7 positions on the day. Quite an astounding feat. In fact, you have to go all the way back to 10th position to find our hardest charger. We'll get there in just a second. There's Michael Haller coming in 7th. Nagisa Yashikawa in 8th place. And we look for Ray Kingsbury. His up and down roller coaster day ends in 9th place. Takes out his frustration on a couple of cones. There, Connor Beese, happy to bring it home. He's our hard charger of the day, having gained 8 positions, gets a top 10, and finishes his cool-down lap in style. So, here is your final race results. As mentioned, Daniel Manzano, no problems. Now, where it says privateer, we just don't have the team name in there yet, but many of these drivers are driving for top teams. Jacob Oster, 2nd place, 14 seconds, 6.86 seconds back. If I can learn how to talk today. Rob Unglenix in 3rd with 14.7 second gap, and then Chris Willite in 4th with a 31 second gap. Carlos Ruiz, 5th, and just 41 seconds back. And there you can read the rest of the finishing order with, I believe as Ryan Worley was your first car to not finish, and Davis Braun, as well as Edward Foster and Kevin Bulasa crashing out of the race and not finishing today. So it was an interesting day. It was quite an event. We saw a number of different crashes and a number of different exchanges of position in the pits, but ultimately, it was our pole sitter, Jacob Oster, who had it all and lost it all in the pits. I'm sure he'll be looking to try to figure out exactly what caused that to happen later on, but in the meantime, he had a fantastic race, only lost one position, ended up in second, and Robin Glennox, your final podium finisher. So that does it for us here at Sebring. As we go ahead and we'll just let's see if we can show you the final tally here as far as what we're going to be looking at for next week, because unfortunately I do not have the points. I will have that next week when we meet. And finally I can get rid of those screen results. Still learning the software, folks. So as you can see here for our schedule, next week it is our first oval of the season, Texas Motor Speedway. Get ready for some different kind of high-speed, intense action at over 220 miles an hour. It should be intense. We'll be back with you live Friday Pacific time will be 6 o'clock next week, so whatever that works out for you, Eastern and GMT, we will be here Friday. And so looking forward past Texas, we'll have the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the road course, and then the oval coming up there on the 25th. Should be a magical time for this month, as the real life Indy cars also head to Texas this next week, and they'll do a double header. And then, of course, you'll have Indy 500 coverage starting moments later. So here on VirtualRacing.Network, we are so pleased to have you join us for this inaugural coverage. If you liked this, hey, my name is Trevor Greenfield. You can give a thumbs up, click the like button down there. Really appreciate it. And also don't forget to subscribe. We will be scheduling our future broadcasts, and you'll be notified of those broadcasts. But hey, if you didn't like it, my name is Arjuna Kankapati, and this was the race spot coverage for the Road Opens. No, I'm just kidding. I know Arjuna didn't. He's not even watching this. He's got better things to do. So, anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure bringing you this coverage, and we'll look forward to next week. Until then, my name is Trevor Greenfield. You've been watching VirtualRacing.Network. See you next week, folks.